Mama Riffs. Today we're going to be putting two Sabbath albums back to back in review. The first Sabbath album, Black Sabbath, and then the last studio album, Never Say Die, which is the last one with Ozzy officially if you don't include the most recent album, 13. Now, Black Sabbath, the first album, was recorded in 1970 in the UK, and apparently Ozzy had a cold, because you imagine it's England and they're touring in Germany and places like that, and Ozzy had a cold when they actually recorded it. One of the joys of being a singer, and Ozzy's voice actually sounds a little bit deeper, and apparently Oz had to record all the vocals in one day. Like normally you think of someone like Brian Johnson from AC/DC, as far as I know, he would sing, say, one song, maybe two studio ones in a day, record it, have a rest, because they sing so high. But Ozzy's voice actually sounded a little bit deeper on that album. So if you ever wondered that, that's why Ozzy's voice sounds a little bit deeper on the album. He had a cold. That's why he sounded kind of different. And Never Say Die, their last studio album, and it was recorded in 1970 in Canada, and the band were like more experienced by then, the Never Say Die album, but they were kind of a little burnt out by 1978. And so today I just want to share a couple of things about these two albums. You've got Black Sabbath, their first album, versus Never Say Die, their last one, and they're two of my favourite Sabbath albums, and I just thought, why not put them back to back in a review? And so I just want to do a little competition between tracks in these, and we'll just see which album turns out the best. And so the first one is the first track on Black Sabbath, on the album Black Sabbath by the band Black Sabbath, is the song Black Sabbath, and it's coming up against the first track on Never Say Die, which is Never Say Die. Two self-titled tracks. So if I was going to put Black Sabbath the song against Never Say Die, I have to go Black Sabbath, because that song literally invented heavy metal. And I recently went on a road trip and I was listening to a live concert from 1975, and they played Black Sabbath the song live, and the way Ozzy sang those lyrics that Geezer wrote, almost from his soul, you know what I mean? And I'll spare you now, I won't sing, I haven't warmed up my voice, but I won't sing Ozzy's lyrics, but the way that song basically invented heavy metal, in my opinion, and the opinion of a lot of people, and that song's going against Never Say Die, so I'll give that one to Black Sabbath. And now the next two tracks we're going to do battle with are The Wizard on Black Sabbath 1 versus Johnny Blade. So I'm going to give that to The Wizard because I love The Wizard. It's got the Tolkien references, I think, about a similar time to Robert Plant started writing about Tolkien, before Lord of the Rings were known as cool. People used to read books about them. So The Wizard has harmonica, Ozzy Osbourne playing harmonica, and I like this song. And the next track number 3 is Behind the Wall of Sleep on their first album versus Junior's Eyes. Well, I have to give it to Behind the Wall of Sleep. And for those of you who don't know, Geezer Butler apparently in his book wrote that was the first song he ever wrote, I think, for Black Sabbath, and Geezer Butler dreamt the whole song, the riff for Behind the Wall of Sleep, that down, 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 virgin cup within her flower, down, 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 train your petals with strange power. Apparently Geezer Butler, if you read his book Into the Void, there was some strange stuff happening in his household when he was growing up. Nothing weird, but anyway. Geezer Butler dreamt actually a few songs, but that's one of them, was Behind the Wall of Sleep. And the next track's number 4 on Sabbath 1 is NIB versus Hard Road. I have to give it to Hard Road. One of my favourite Sabbath songs, Hard Road. Number 5. Track number 5 is Evil Woman versus Shockwave. I'm going to give it to Shockwave. I was listening to that recently on the road. I love that song. Some of these songs in the latter Sabbath days in the 70s really sounded almost a prototype towards Ozzy going solo. They were just, yeah, really cool. You could almost say it was solo Ozzy, but with Tony, Geezer and Bill on backing him. Yeah, Shockwave, great song. The next track is Behind the Wall of Sleep on Sabbath 1 versus Air Dance. No, sorry, I said that wrong. Sleeping Village versus Air Dance. I'm going to give it to Sleeping Village. Heard that recently. And the next, second last track is Warning, which is really long. To be honest, if there was a weak point in my humble opinion, by the way, these are just my opinions. If there was a weak point in Sabbath's first album, it would be maybe Warning. I guess apparently these were all the songs they were stretching out when they were touring, and that's how songs were invented. But to me, Warning was a little bit stretched out. If they could have condensed that to 5 minutes or a bit more, condensed it in, it would have been good. But for me, between Warning, and if I put that, because there's more tracks on Never Say Die, I'm going to put Warning up against Over to You and Breakout. I'm going to give that to Over to You and Breakout, because Over to You again is a little bit like an Aussie solo track. And finally, the last one is Wicked World, versus Swinging the Chain. I'm not sure if anyone can guess what my favourite one is of those two, but Wicked World, oh my god, like Wicked World is probably one of my most favourite Sabbath songs. They didn't include it. I put that on this review for the Black Sabbath's first album, but when I first bought Sabbath's album years ago when I was a teenager, it did not come with Wicked World. But tell you what, Wicked World is just the way they infused, for want of a better word, they melded together the blues, jazz, and then the swing of rock, hard rock, and then heavy metal over the chasm of it. It was just, really was a life-altering thing when Sabbath came out, you know. They were known as the underdogs in a way. You sort of had the competition in the UK with all the good UK bands like Zeppelin and Stones, etc. And then you had Sabbath come, and they were kind of more of a working class band, but they really, you know, stuck to their ground. And I think they wrote some, Tony Iommi in particular wrote some amazing riffs. So if we're going to do a track by track battle, shall we say, between Black Sabbath 1 and Never Say Die, we've got Black Sabbath 1's got 5 tracks, and Never Say Die has 1, 2, 3. So I guess in the track by track battle, Black Sabbath 1, the first album, has won the battle against Never Say Die. But both of them are two of my favourite albums. That's why I put them back to back today. And I just thought I'd do a little review on them. And I think, if you don't mind me saying, go and check it out. Most people would have heard the album Paranoid and Volume 4, but in my opinion, if you want to check out some cool Sabbath, maybe go and check it out or rediscover Black Sabbath Volume, the first Sabbath album. It has like this, you know, house on a river with a witch on the front, and there's a whole story behind that. I might share it another time. And then you got Never Say Die, when they have the sort of the pilots in their masks that help them breathe when they're flying fast. So I just think these are two of the best Sabbath albums. I wouldn't necessarily say they're my favourites, but I think between these two, they're a really tough battle. But today, Black Sabbath by the band Black Sabbath is my favourite album out of the two, Black Sabbath and Never Say Die. So thank you for watching today. We'll see you next time. We're going to bring something awesome. And thank you for watching and subscribing, and we're going to see you real soon.